everybody, pause up. We do a thing where we kind of sing. We go, pause up, baby, pause up. He's not wanting to do it now, but either way, okay. That's where pause up came from, is him and I singing, and other dogs I've had. So today, thanks for coming back and checking out our next video. And we will be making a meal today, and this one is actually entitled Hunter's Favorite, and it'll have pork and beef in it. So let's get started. Okay, so the ingredients for this one is going to be, we're going to follow that same 80, 15, and 5 ruling with this, but we're going to tweak it just a little bit. So we're going to do 80% of our meat is going to be, we've just got some chopped up pork here and some ground up beef. So that 5%, if you remember, of your 80% is going to be, for this recipe, is going to be made up of chicken livers. And it is just so dense in nutrients. You really want to try to incorporate as many of the livers as you can. Any of the offal meats, which are your organ meats, you want as that 5%, making up 5% of that 80% of your protein, okay? And then the 15 and 5, we're gonna kind of muddy those lines and just kind of really omit the grains altogether. We're gonna do a completely grain-free one this time. And so we're gonna do a full 25% veggies and fruit. And what we have compiled is kale, sweet potato, red cabbage, we've got some butternut squash, of course blueberries, almost maybe the rest of this, so probably about almost 2 tablespoons of ginger. And we are going to add a 1/4 cup of the coconut oil. We'll go ahead and add all of that in. We're just gonna set it to a medium heat. You don't wanna char the meat, which actually that brings me to a good point. You don't want to char the meat. So what I normally do is I just add about 1/8 of a cup, 1/4 to 1/8 of a cup of water. So we're going to go ahead and add the rest of that in. So we've got 10 pounds of meat here, actually just shy of 10 pounds. And we're going to add in the livers. Now with the livers, what I've gone ahead and done is chopped them up. Again, this will sort of be like the blueberries, where maybe not every single meal will have a chunk of liver in it, but since it's all kind of cooking together, all those minerals will incorporate and blend throughout the recipe. We're gonna add the 1/4 cup of coconut oil, and that'll just give it a little more moisture too, as well as some good fat. So we'll just go ahead and let that cooked on down, and then we will start incorporating the other items, and I will show you that as we go. So during the cooking process, you'll just want to, while the meat is going, and you have just the meat in there with your 1/4 to 1/2 cup of water, you'll just want to keep stirring it so it doesn't just end up burning on the bottom for you. Keep stirring it, you'll see parts of it are cooked, and that's what you're going for. You just want that like whitening of the meat, that, I don't want to say browning of it, because that kind of, to me, suggests charring, you know, making it brown and crunchy and crispy. But you're just wanting that meat to go from pink to that really light colored brown, kind of starting to get there, like with that piece there. So, okay, so now that we have everything all fully cooked off, we'll go ahead and start adding our other ingredients. I'm going to start with adding the firmer things first, that I do want to actually cook for a minute to just soften up, and that would be my sweet potato, my butternut squash, and the cabbage. The kale and the blueberries are going to be at the very end. We're going to go ahead and get that all incorporated in. All right, well, a couple minutes have gone by, and we're pretty sure that these are starting to soften. There's going to be a little bit more cook time while the rest of the stuff wilts in a little bit, mainly the kale. I didn't bother taking the stalks out of the leaves. We've still got some chunks of the stalk in there. I just chopped it all up, gave it a good rough chop, and allow it to kind of have lots of little pieces to dissipate throughout the recipe here. So really you got that 2 pounds is from, you know, these blueberries and that sweet potato and the butternut squash. Just let it sit for maybe another 3 to 5 minutes here, just to allow it to wilt and soften and start releasing its nutrients to get in all incorporated into the recipe here. All right, well that's looking pretty good, pretty much where we want it. And I'm gonna go ahead and take it off the heat now and let it start cooling so I can handle it, and we'll get into portion controls. Don't worry about that moisture. You want that. It'll kind of re-solidify back up and absorb back into that meat a little bit as it cools. So we have taken it off the heat, but since it's an electric stove, it's still bubbling. I almost forgot to add his ginger in there, and we do 2 tablespoons of that. I'll just blend that and again take it completely off the heat, allow it to continue cooling. It'll go right into the baggie just fine. Okay everybody, so in this bag, this white stuff is actually ground up eggshells. Beryl is now right about it as 50 pounds, where he'll kind of top out at that unless he becomes a chunk because he eats too much. So he's gonna get big heaping 1/2 cup servings, and then what I do for Beryl, and is about 1/2 of a teaspoon, just kind of a level heaping like that, and just put that in there. And then you'll just bag them up. Now what I like to do is keep the majority of them in the freezer. This way they last for a good long time. I'll try to make a larger batch that'll last him quite a few weeks. I'll just take out 4 to 6 of these and keep in the fridge, so I always have a couple days in advance. He does totally love this food, but we'll go ahead and give him a taste test, get the Beryl approval. Hey Beryl, would you like to try some of this recipe? How about you sit down for me? Do you wait? Wait, young man. Okay. Well, it sure seems like he likes that one. Thanks for tuning in for another video. We sure appreciate you. We love that you guys are interested in what we have to say. And please like and subscribe, and then you can get notified of when our newest videos are released. Go ahead and check out all the links below for our Instagram and our Facebook and our blog and our website and everything like that. And by all means, shoot us a comment or a question, and if you have them, and we'd be happy to answer them for you. Thanks for tuning in. Pause up. Have a great day.